Damn right.
After our
And the official beer
Look at here.
of
0-7.
with the windless beer.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Week 9 Big Pick for the NFL picking show where the gurus, Big Danny D and Big Brian B, will give you the best 4 picks for Sunday's NFL games, to include the Big Danny D guarantee and the Big Brian B guarantees. As always, we will commence with a recap of Week 8. I just want to put out there that Week 8 was the first week of the Golden Ticket Week.
So what's the golden ticket? What does that
It
mean?
guarantees 3 out of 4. So you obviously
Yes.
notched last week's show, but it guarantees 3 out of 4 for that week.
The Golden Ticket is a week where I, the Big O, and it may happen 0 times a season. It may happen many times. So far in this season, it has happened 1 time, which was Week 8, was the first Golden Ticket week. A guaranteed 3 out of 4. If Dan had not given me inaccurate analysis on the losing game, it would have been a different story. He told me that Jason Campbell was starting for the Oakland Raiders.
No, I said you were starting for
Yes, you
Cleveland.
did.
No, I didn't. Get out of here. I think I know between Terrell Pryor and Jason Campbell.
Wait, so Scott, you predicted this week we were going to go 3 for 4, so you called this week a golden ticket week?
Last week.
Yeah,
So you
last week.
okay? So Saturday when you did the show, or whatever, Friday when you did the show, you called this a golden ticket week. So you predicted.
Yes.
You predicted.
But of course, the audience would already know this because they watched the show last week, unlike
Mhm.
Brian.
I was in a coma. So.
And, I should have known, but after the show, I found out the Steelers hadn't won in Oakland since 1995. But also, Oakland had lost 10 straight games coming off the bye. So something had to give. But unfortunately, it was the wrong thing.
Well, and Big Dan and I were correct because we questioned the Cowboys pick. We both questioned that pick, and as it turns out, we were all right. All 3 of us were correct because the Cowboys did lose, but the Lions didn't cover, or they didn't cover the spread. So the Cowboys lost by what, 2 points?
1 point.
Yeah, 1 point.
1 point. So we were actually all correct because Dan and I said there's no way. We both said there's no way that Romo and the girls are going to win. We were 100% correct. Brian was 100% correct in his picking the underdog Cowboys. So that was, nobody was wrong.
Worked out
For a
well.
change.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, another question. So this week, if you look at our picks and you don't like them, then you're not gonna make it a golden ticket week. Is that what the deal is? So if you
No, it's not if I don't like them. If I know that you're not going to go at least 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4,
okay.
then it would not be a golden ticket week.
And has Dan the Jew agreed to the beard, the Jew beard?
No, I did not.
No, that's why that got
Brown
cut from
hair
the
and
show.
scruffy beard.
If you would have watched your own show, So what are you doing with your time on the internet? It's obviously not watching Big Pick 4. It's watching Big something, but not Pick
Is that a
4.
rhetorical question, Scott?
He's watching the big boob, the Brian O'Hearn story.
Yeah. He's watching Big Boobs, all right. So the overall, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see highlighted in red there that the Big D got his first win, but still the 7 losses is what's dragging the program down. It's not the Big B this year. He's at least 500 coming out of the first quarter of the season.
First half.
First half?
Yeah, first half of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, where have I been?
I don't know.
Never mind. We'll cut that in the editing.
All right.
I'll make myself look more intelligent.
He did that last
So
week too.
first
but
half.
show.
So we've got to win out. We've basically got to win out to have a good season, folks.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
well, I know. I think we're going to go to at least 3 out of 4 this week, so we'll be back in the game.
Heard that before.
Yeah.
He highlighted in red.
Yep. So the big pick 4 experts are going to win out the rest of the season. Prove all the haters wrong.
That's right.
Yeah, sure.
We'll now have our first feature of the show being the Vag of the Week from Big Danny D.
The great and wonderful Dez Bryant. Now, let me preface this by saying sometimes receivers go crazy on the sideline during a game, and it's actually called for because it's the middle of the game, the quarterback's just screwing up. But at this point, with this guy, he went crazy at the end of the game when the team didn't even have a chance to get the ball back, and the defense was on the field, and they were getting beat up by the opposing offense. And they had no shot, and he was going crazy for no reason. I don't get it. I mean, I think the guy was trying to have a personal battle with Calvin Johnson, who, by the way, is probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, and Dez Bryant isn't. Not that Dez Bryant isn't a bad player, but Calvin Johnson had the best game for a receiver in the history of the NFL in regulation. Flipper Anderson had more yards in a game, but that was in an overtime game. But he was crying, going crazy like a baby. DeMarcus Ware had to hold him back, and Jason Witten was yelling at him. Jason Witten probably doesn't yell at anybody, I think. He's like a pretty professional player, and Bryant was going crazy. And I really don't understand what his problem is. I mean, I really thought he had a personal war with Calvin Johnson, which is the way you shouldn't play the game.
Right.
That just hurts your team. And then to act like a baby on the sideline at the worst possible moment when your defense needs your support, instead you're screaming and yelling. I mean, that was like that's a nominee for Vag of the Year, that performance. That was horrible. You can't do that. Now, all of his players and the coaches, everyone else had to stand up for him after the game and look ridiculous doing it. What's his name? Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones and
Right.
Tony Romo. No, I mean that was awful.
That was twice. He did twice.
Yeah, he made them all look bad.
He did it earlier. He was yelling at Jason Garrett and Tony.
Yeah,
Romo
but I'm saying that's what may be all right. But at the end of that game, at that point, you can't do it anymore.
No, he was yelling because he wanted the ball.
I understand, but at the end of the game, when you're not going to get the ball back, you're probably going to lose the game. You have no chance. Either you win or you lose. You are not going to get the ball back. It's impossible. Time says Detroit's got the ball the rest of the game. You can't do that. You just can't do it. And that's why he wins this week. That was pitiful.
So that is the Week 9 Vag of the Week, ladies and gentlemen. We will now have our first combined pick. Big Danny D, let's have it. Week 9.
All right, our first combined pick for Week 9 is the Ryan Bowl. Rob Ryan versus Rex Ryan in New Orleans at the New York Jets.
Yeah. Drew Brees! Oh, yeah.
New Orleans is favored by 6.5. The Jets got completely annihilated last week. I don't think that's going to happen again. They lost by 40 points. That was a little ridiculous. But New Orleans is good. I mean, they've only lost one game this season. Having Sean Payton back has made all the difference in the world. Getting rid of Spagnuolo and bringing in Rob Ryan as the defensive coordinator, he's done a good job. And Drew Brees has played great. I mean, he had the quietest 4 or 5 touchdown game I've ever seen in my life last week. He's amazing. The Jets have a decent defense, but I believe New Orleans can win by a touchdown in this game. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either. I think the Jets are going to be very, very motivated to play much better than they did last week. That was ridiculous. But, New Orleans is a good team. I know it's a road game. It's supposed to be windy there on tomorrow, but I still think that New Orleans has a chance to still win this game and win by more than a touchdown.
And one thing I also say, I don't know if Dan could agree with this, but I think this year the New Orleans run game is much improved. I think they are more balanced than they were the last couple of years.
Yeah, Ingram has been a bit of a disappointment. He hasn't done a whole lot.
But
some of the other guys, Thomas, and they still, the Sproles doesn't necessarily run, but they throw these little quick passes to him, like these little wheel routes or little dump offs, and he just goes and goes and goes. He's amazing.
And the other guy's pretty good, Robinson. He's pretty decent back.
Yeah, and they found a guy in Stills who's become a good receiver for them. So Graham is back,
and Jimmy Graham, even though he's on 1 foot, is still a beast. He had 2 touchdowns.
He still catches touchdowns in the end zone and the red zone.
Yes, this is true.
So, I just, and we'll see if if things go bad early in the game, the Jets defense could fall apart again. You never know after what happened to them last week.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens. But anyway, go with New Orleans.
There you have it. Your first combined pick. Marching towards a 500 record. Big Pick 4. We need a 4 out of 4 to go above 500. Let's have the second combined pick. Big Brian B.
For the second combined pick for Week 9, I'm going to go with Indy -1 at Houston. Pick Indy. I think Houston, they're starting a new first game quarterback, Keenan. Second game, sorry. Damn, point out. Second game. Still very, very new. Houston, they're banged up. Arian Foster might not play. Tate might not play. They haven't looked good. The defense has actually played pretty well. It's the offense that's been the problem. But I like, even though it's at Houston, I like the spread. I think Indy, they lost last week.
Their
right?
defense hasn't played great either, especially against the run. They've been torn up by the run in recent weeks.
But it's been the offense that's been terrible. But
Matt Schaub keeps throwing those pick sixes, which doesn't help at all.
And Indy lost last week, right?
No, Indy was off.
Oh, the week before.
At least before they beat the formerly undefeated Broncos.
Okay.
Brian, I thought you had cable now. What the hell are you doing?
Well, as I said, I think it's been pretty well chronicled what he's been doing with his newfound internet.
No, I actually had the internet before. I had Clear. I did have.
Yeah, but you can use it on the computer.
Anyway, the way obviously Dan just pointed out, they just come off. They beat the Broncos, and they're coming off a bye. They're well rested.
Well, so Texas coming off a bye too.
They're still well rested though.
Both teams are well rested.
Okay,
but the problem is, as you pointed out, is the rookie quarterback. The Indy defense has played a lot better recently.
Yeah, Robert Mathis is a beast this year. I think he leads the league in sacks. For all those reasons, and I like the way Andrew Luck plays. I think he's a great quarterback. He knows how to win. He finds ways to win games. And Trent Richardson, I like him coming along as a running back. They're a little more well balanced. Even though now I will have to point out they are losing Reggie Wayne. But I still think the Indy offense is going to be good enough to win by more than a point. I really like this spread. I think I told at the beginning of the year I said that I like to try to pick the games with the lower spreads and stay away from the big spreads. So I really do like this -1 spread. So for all those reasons, take Indy.
Even though
it's basically a pick 'em at this point.
Yeah, I like those low spreads.
Yeah, even though sometimes you get a special game like the 49ers against the Jaguars, where it was a 14-point spread and they won by like 32. Once in a while you can go the big spread if you have the right matchup.
And I would like to give Dan credit, even though he didn't have anything to lose because he was 0-7. I'd still say that was a great pick.
Yeah,
he
because
proved me wrong. I stay away from those big spreads, but Dan was right, and he went with it.
Because sometimes I think it's okay if you have the right combination. Sometimes it isn't. Like, when Jacksonville went to Denver, it turned out to be a closer game than they thought, and it wouldn't have been good to go with it.
Yeah.
But San Francisco had been such on a roll, and Jacksonville just is awful. And as I said, I chronicled last week with the head coach going through what he did. Now Justin Blackmon is out for the season because of his drug suspension.
No, but
I just thought it was funny last week where they said that the crew at Lucas Oil was opening up the roof, opening up the windows because they said Peyton hated that. He hated when certain windows and the roof was open if it was a certain temperature.
Yeah,
so
it was a cool night.
Doing shit just to piss him off.
They did because it was a cool night there, and they opened everything up because he likes playing indoors and he doesn't play well in the cold, like we saw in that playoff game last year.
That's
when it was like 12 degrees in Denver with some ridiculous temperature, and he struggled mightily.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was funny. I have to give Irsay credit for that one. That was funny.
Yeah.
So there you have your first two picks are in the book for Week 9. Can we get back to 500? Can we have a recovery of season 2013-14? You're picking your New Orleans Saints and your Indy Colts.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, now a word from our sponsors.
The Manga Tanoka River provides fresh water for the Tui Brewery and a refreshing dip for the workers. Gorgeous workers.
Quack.
So let's have our first combined, or our first guaranteed pick from the Guru, the 1-7 Guru himself, Big Danny D.
All right, my Week 9 guarantee, try to keep the train going here, hopefully, is Kansas City -3.5 at Buffalo.
That is the Love Train.
Yep, going with the big tomato.
Andy Reid Love Train.
Yeah, going with the big tomato again, Andy Reid. Buffalo's starting some jerk at quarterback tomorrow, Toole or Matt Flynn or some other clown, because their other clown they started, what's his name, Lewis. I don't think he's going to be able to go. They're banged up. Fred Jackson's been bad lately. C.J. Spiller's been a disaster the whole season. Their defense is okay in spurts, but that Kansas City defense is going to run all over that team. And, you know, as long as Kansas City does their usual thing or Alex Smith doesn't screw anything up and they score some touchdowns, I believe they can cover the spread. I think they could get some pick sixes in this game against a quarterback who's going to be awful and inexperienced. That, you know, they have a good defense so they can disguise their coverages. They can play man-to-man on the outside, so they're able to blitz their linebackers. Holly and Houston have been just ridiculous this season. Getting pressure. Poe's been good in the middle as a nose tackle. He gets good pressure. Buffalo has an okay defense, but I think that in the end they're going to struggle a little bit, and I believe that Kansas City can pull this one out and get to 9-0 heading into their big matchup with the Broncos next week. But Buffalo doesn't have enough to me. I mean, the quarterback situation is a disaster. The running back situation is pretty bad. And the defense is just not going to hold up. And as I said, I think the Kansas City defense is going to score and it cause at least 2 or 3 turnovers and put the Kansas City offense in a good position.
And the other thing, too, that we don't talk about sometimes is that the way Kansas City's defense is playing, they'll always have the advantage in the field position.
Yeah.
You know, even if they don't score, they're going to pin.
Special teams is big. They have McCluster there, too, who can give them field position when they receive
they'll be able
punts.
to pin Buffalo back.
And the other thing, too, is the weather there is supposed to be pretty – that's not going to be too good. It's going to be like about 35 degrees and a lot of wind there tomorrow.
Which favors a good running
game. Which favors Kansas City, who can really run the ball, and they run a controlled short passing game anyway. They're not relying on throwing deep, so it doesn't really matter. So I believe that Kansas City is going to win this one and cover the spread against a very favorable matchup for them.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have the team, what do you call it? The team 2013 lead by example, Big Brian B, who is 4-4.
That's right.
You know, we've always said you got to be 500 at least coming into the home stretch of the season.
That is true.
That's true.
And he has accomplished that. So he is actually well positioned to bring you home the big profit for 2013-14. Big Brian B. Let's have your guarantee.
Triumphant return.
His triumphant return.
For Week 9, my Big B guarantee is Tennessee -1 at St. Louis. Take Tennessee. I was discussing with Dan some of the things. The number one thing that we were talking about is the St. Louis. Their quarterback Kellen Clement looked horrible last week. Just terrible. I think he's gonna have some turnovers this week against the Titans again. They have to rely on their running game because they don't have a throwing game, and I think Tennessee will load the box. Also, St. Louis has like the 24th rated pass defense. Now, they will be able to get after the quarterback, but that's another thing. I think that's a strength of Tennessee. I think Jake Locker, even when he's pressured, I think he'll be able to get out of the pocket and get some extra yards. And the other thing, again, going back to the spread, I really like -1, and I think I told the viewers the very beginning of the year that Dan can do whatever he wants with his Big D. If he wants to be bold like he did last week, I give him credit. I don't have the balls to do that. I'm staying away from big spreads, and I'm going to try to keep my games between 4-1 mark, the 4-1 spread.
Oops.
So -1, I'm in love with this spread.
Spreads for little balls.
That's right, baby.
Why are you calling it a -1? It's a -2.5.
Dan just
it was -1 like 2 hours ago.
Dan, yeah, he showed me on the Pinnacle.
No, it's minus. It's minus 2.5. You're talking about Tennessee at St. Louis,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
you told me it was -1.
Yeah, it went down to -1.
It's minus 2.5. It was started at a -3, and it's now at a minus 2.5.
Yeah, whatever. Still
Are you
two.
sure you?
Yes. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
We
2.5.
have a argument. We have.
I'm on the website right now. It started. It doesn't move from a -3 to a minus. It's a minus 2.5. It's moved a half point.
To me, it doesn't matter. 2.5. It doesn't matter.
Well, all right. I'm not going to change my pick, and I'm not going to fight with my brother. But I don't think it
At
spread
2.5,
change.
it's still a good pick.
I don't think it changed in 2 hours.
It
But
changed the same. It doesn't have to win by a field goal. It really doesn't make a difference.
No, it hasn't changed in 2 hours. I've had it up on my screen all night. It's minus
All right, let's not
2.5.
argue about
you've
this.
had
Let's not argue about this.
Dan
This
is sober. You probably had like 30 beers already.
Yeah, let's just edit this part out of the show. Brian can start over again.
SBRforum.com. SBRforum.com, betting-odds, NFL football, live odds. You got to choose Pinnacle as your lead, which of course I have because I bet on baseball and win, unlike Big Pick 4.
Oh no, we're not going to get into the umpires again.
So my settings are all correct. I have Pinnacle as the lead line for the opener, and for the number one line in the left column, I have Tennessee as opened at a -3 under Pinnacle, and now we're down to a -2.5 under Pinnacle.
Well, we're still taking it at 2.5.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we're still taking it. I still think they can cover, and I'm still holding to my speech about trying to keep the spreads between 4 and
No, I mean that's 0 to 3. So I mean you're still keeping in your range.
my range, yeah. So I'm gonna make
you can't play with the big boys like Big D that can go out.
That's right,
and actually
and he's 1 and
win with
7
the big
too. So
covers.
Yeah, but
1 and
as
7.
I said, that was a special
Can't play with the
matchup.
big boys yet.
That was a special matchup. As I said, I agree with Brian for the most part. You want to stay with low spreads. But that was just a game I knew the 49ers were going to crush that team because that team didn't care. They're going into the bye. They just given up on the season. And the 49ers were on such a roll.
no, I give
that
you credit. No, I'm saying
I knew they were going to crush them, and they did.
Dan had some balls, man. He went out and fucking.
I thought it was a friendly spread, unlike the Denver spread, which was ridiculous. We probably should have taken Jacksonville in that game. But, generally you agree 6 points or less is a good spread to take.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna promise my viewers, my fans out there, that I'm gonna do everything in my power each week to pick games that are less than 6 spread. That's a promise to you. All 30.
But I disagree with you because I would say I totally agree with you on the favorite side, but on the underdog side, it's actually agreeing with what you're saying. It's really hard on the underdog side for someone to beat you at a plus.
Oh yeah,
plus
yeah.
6.5.
That's a good point,
I mean,
Scott.
it works the opposite way
Wait,
too.
that's a very good point. When I mean stay away, I mean as the favorite. Yeah, if you're an underdog, if it's +10 and I think you can cover, I'm going to pick the underdog. I'm saying as a favorite to stay away from the spreads that are over 6 points.
Well, to me, I think if it's an over 14-point spread, if you have like a 15, 16-point spread, like last week on Monday Night Football, the Seahawks were favored by 15 over St. Louis, and it was only turned out to be a 5-point game.
Yeah.
And in that case, I think take St. Louis because the spread's over 2 touchdowns. If it's under 2 touchdowns, you got to think about it, depending on what the matchup is.
Well, that's you.
But I'm just saying, in general.
Me and Dan always,
general.
even though we do the show together, we don't always have to agree, and I think that's what makes the show good.
True.
I disagree. I think it should stay.
As I said, it depends on the matchup. It really does. It depends on the matchup.
For me, I think it's going to be easier on me, on my picks, if I can narrow it down to things that are less than 6. I think it makes
but it doesn't always
you have
work
a better
that way.
shot. I just think you have a better chance of winning if you keep
I
the spread lower.
think it depends on the matchup. It really does.
Okay, well,
you might have a team that's a +6 on the road that you think you want to take. That might be a +6 underdog. It really just depends on what you see as the
we're
matchup.
not talking about underdog. We're talking about.
I'm talking about both. Either way, like say San Francisco was favored over Oakland by 14, same spread as the Jacksonville one. I would probably take Oakland because I don't think San Francisco necessarily covered that spread. But in that case, it was a different kind of matchup. This Jacksonville is such a horrible team. It was right before the bye week. They're ready just to mail it in, and that's exactly what happened. Would I take that 10 out of 10? Probably not. It just like San Francisco's favorite over 14 over Tennessee, I think, the week before. They blew them out, but I don't think I would have taken that matchup. It was a bad one because you just don't know. But that one, I think things seemed like such a sure thing.
Well, no,
it doesn't happen very often.
But my point wasn't to continue the argument. I just want to make a point to the viewers that it's good that we. I'm just saying, I was making a point to the viewers that it's good that we disagree.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have two opposing viewpoints sometimes, that we don't have to agree on everything. I think it gives the fans, when they watch a show, more information, more of a view, more perspective.
It was a special matchup, and then generally, right. I'm not going to take the big spread either.
I'm sorry we're not talking about the umpires of baseball.
Yeah, all the umpires and relievers are all on the take. They're crooked. That Fernando Rodney, he threw the ball in the center field on purpose.
Well, in the era of steroids, in the era of
here we go.
A Boston Game 1 pitcher cheating in the first game of the World Series by putting axle grease in his glove and greasing up the ball. Are we surprised that umps are on the take? Are we surprised that relievers aren't on the take, especially with in-game betting now being available on the internet? We need not go there.
I think my brother just cricketed himself. Good job, Scott.
That was a first.
Bravo. Way to be humble. Eat some crow, baby.
That's right. That was a first.
That was a first. Yes, that was a first.
That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have the Week 9 man violation from the chief violator himself, Big Brian B.
Before I do my violation, I'd like to say happy birthday to my brother. He just turned 80 today.
So Scott finally caught up to you.
Nice.
My man violation for Week 9. We have a buddy at work. His name is.
I do want to say in my defense, I have not outlived our father yet, so he's still in the lead.
Okay. How old's your mom now? 70, 71?
No, she's not even 70 yet.
All right, my Week 9 man violation. There's a coworker who shall remain nameless, Scott Coyle.
It's always the same joke.
It is always the same joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, he.
But it's funny every time.
It is.
That's like party, man. It's funny every time.
Anyway, a couple weeks ago, I was going to use him before, but I liked the man violation I had the week before. But the man violation a couple weeks ago, he a key part of this man violation is the audience needs to know that he's not even married to this girl. Okay, I think their fiance. She might be his fiance, but they're not even married. They don't have any kids. He took a day off work, a full day off work, because she was sick to take care of him. She probably just had like a cold or something, and she's probably making him go all around, make him soup. Hey, baby, can you make me soup? Can you do this for me? Can you do that? So he had to take a full day off work to take care of someone who wasn't even his wife, and he doesn't even have kids. So that is your Week 9, and he has been getting it from our coworkers. We've been getting him shit for it. It is pretty fun. He even sometimes he'll miss the Christmas party. Like 3 years in a row, he missed the Christmas party because she was sick, which I think is code for she just doesn't want him to go out, and she has all the pants in the relationship. But anyway, that's my Week 9 man violation. So for all you,
I need a ruling from the chief violator, Big B, on that one, because I actually took a day off work to help my girlfriend because she had just had a breast enlargement surgery. Do I get a? Is that an exception? Is there an exception clause there?
Well, what were you doing to help? Were you massaging the breasts?
No, her sister covered down like on the first 2 days, so it was like day 3. Okay. And I was there, doing the same type of thing you described, but this was a legitimate breast enlargement.
I think I'll
surgery.
make an exception.
Yeah,
I will
think
make
there
an
could be
exception.
Well, wait a minute, it's a difference here. She had surgery. Scott Coyle's
Right.
girlfriend may have had like a
Cold. Sinus infection.
runny nose.
Or yeah, Scott's famous sinus infection.
Yeah, one of his famous sinus infections.
No, that is an exception.
I mean, she is the classic couch monster.
Coyle, I threw like
She
3
really
years
is.
in a row.
But she's a couch monster.
Yeah.
She stays at home all day, watches
Doesn't do
television,
anything. She has
and
no
then
job.
forces him to do whatever is her bidding.
I
Kinda
mean,
feel bad for her.
I do. I mean, as much as people complain, I enjoy the Christmas parties. I think they're a good time.
Yeah, because you get drunk and we all laugh at you.
Right. But he hasn't gone to the last 3 Christmas parties because she won't let him. Basically, he always says that she's sick, and then he has to take care of her. But I really think we know who wears the
I
pants.
mean, he's very loyal, obviously.
We know who wears the pants in that relationship, though.
She's afraid that he's going to have too much fun.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah. Exactly.
We know this.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I mean, if she was in the hospital or something, I can understand him taking a day off. But if she probably had the snuffles or something, and he has to go make her soup and probably massage her feet and do all kinds of weird shit. So that is my week 9 man violation. And yes, Scott, you get an exception to the rule. Just like we had Ernest. Earlier in the year we had a controversy. Ernest watches Lifetime movies, but his girlfriend makes him watch the Lifetime movies, so we allowed that as an exception because his girlfriend made him. It wasn't by choice. It wasn't voluntary. So there are exceptions.
And I did get to see them at the end of the day too. So we had the reveal, the reveal, the big reveal.
Was it worth the wait, Scott?
I was not supporting. No pun intended, that decision. Actually, I mean, that was her call. That wasn't my call. But yeah, I did get this. We did have the reveal also, so that was part of the trip. It wasn't a wasted trip where I was just a medical attendant, for the whole time.
Well, no, that's good. That's good. You probably got to massage them a little bit, put some lotion on them.
But there is some bruising going on with those operations, I must tell you.
Yeah.
I'm not buying into the concept, but Brian would, because that's, if you search his history on the internet, it's all about that. It ain't all about big naturals, right, Brian? I mean, you go both ways, right?
Hey, it's like Al Bundy said, where the breasts may be fake, but man, do they shake at the nudie bar. Al Bundy also said that if a fake breast were to fall in the forest, yes, it would make a sound. So it is real. That's the ultimate test. If a fake breast fell in the ground, it would make a sound.
I could say something about that show that make you very disappointed. Women wrote the majority of the episodes for that show.
Why would you ruin that for me?
I looked it up.
Why would you?
Women wrote the majority of the episodes for that show.
All right. Dan gets man violation for next week for ruining Married with Children for me.
Ah, yes,
There's no
I
suspense. Thank you, Dan, for ruining my favorite show.
No, the best Married with Children for me was when the daughter was going to go to a performance at her school, and she said to her parents, she said, "Are you going to be there for my performance?" And Bundy, he says, "No, we're all going to be there, because no Bundy embarrasses herself in front of the entire school without us all being there to enjoy it."
Yeah,
Brian and I
really
can
my dad
relate.
would
That would
make.
be a comment
Yeah.
that our dad would make. Yeah. That would be a Doug comment. We all want to be there for that. If you're going to embarrass yourself in front of everybody, you're not going to miss that. Hell no, that's a family event.
Oh, it's not a golden ticket week.
Boo!
Ladies and
Wait
gentlemen,
a
sorry to
minute.
announce this is not a golden
I
ticket
hate
week.
to tell you this, but the Cardinals moved away from St. Louis in 1988. It's not a golden golden ticket for the producer either.
Yeah, it was Kyle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what's his name? Yeah, I don't think Neil Lomax is playing this week.
Dan Dewar is in the
Yeah,
track.
Dewdorf isn't going to be there. Rob Moore, Eric Swan, the rest of those guys. Yeah, right. I think you still have baseball in your mind. You're still thinking about those.
I
fucking
think that was
umpires.
just a minor typo.
That's funny. The producer.
Well, actually, it's funny because what actually made this a non golden ticket week was last week I was reviewing the photos of the NFL cheerleaders dressing up for Halloween, and I'm very sad to say that one of the St. Louis cheerleaders had dressed up as a pirate. And it very closely resembled a Tampa Bay Buccaneer cheerleader.
What?
So therefore,
Folks, that doesn't
she
even
has
make sense
jinxed
what
her
he
team
And
for
let's
week
not start this whole
9.
pirate thing again. That was awful.
Yeah, she dressed up as a pirate cheerleader for Halloween, and oh, by the way, all the colors of her outfit were the Tampa
But
Bay
they're good, though. I
Buccaneer
mean, they'll
colors. So
lose.
she has now jinxed her
That's
team
a
the
valid
following
point. They're
week.
You need to get yeah. Seriously,
Oh,
you
that's
want
right.
another
No, look.
producer. You got a backup guy back there? Do you got a guy who sits on the couch? And you got a couch guy who just sleeps
Yeah,
on the
right.
couch?
Do you have
got
anyone
Bob
at
on the
the,
couch?
Do you have at the
Never mind.
Big Pick 4
Never
home
mind.
office who can come in and take over?
Just for
Oh,
the last like
but-
5 minutes of the show?
But wait a minute, you got the big spread on the Saints that we've already discussed. You got undefeated team going deep in the season. I mean, I hope everyone wins. I'm not a big Andrew Luck fan. I'm just
2-6.
going down to Texas. Who are the Texans? Are they nobody? I mean, okay. I just don't see it as a. But see, what happens with the golden ticket weeks is that if you go 3 out of 4, then that negates the golden ticket week from previously. So right now the golden ticket weeks are 1-0. So if you guys prove me wrong, then the golden ticket week ain't worth a shit. But right now it's 1-0.
That's a big
That's
sample.
all I'm saying. So it's up to you guys to prove the golden ticket
And well,
week
as we
wrong.
said, Dan really went out on a limb going for the 8-0 Chiefs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
He's the only one out on that limb all by himself.
Yeah, they're showing some guy named Tool. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Starting for the Bills. That's right.
Did you hire Terry
Bradshaw,
Bradshaw to help you with that
Dan
expert
Dumdorf.
analysis?
We got Bumpy at retirement.
Must have.
Pat Summerall, a team who never
no.
did of his career. Didn't go to-
No, he didn't.
So that's it. The picks are in the book for week 9, Big Pick 4.
Score with Big Pick 4.
We'll call up my Rocky song after that.